My name is Sally Davis, and this is my story. I was in prison for a number of years when I was younger, and long story short there, I learned that lesson. However, while I was there, my stepmother, Phyllis, who was my best friend, passed away. She had lupus and had been sick for a long time over the years, but it was still a big shock when she died. Come to find out, I didn't even know until 4 days later. I called home to my biological mother for the holidays the day before Christmas Eve, and she said, she started to cry, and she's like, "Oh, you don't know, do you?" And no, I didn't, so that was a fun conversation. As it turned out, everybody in my family had been trying to get in touch with somebody, anybody that would get a message to me to let me know what had happened. And they had been met with promises, absolutely, we'll let her know as soon as we can, we'll have her call home. And nothing ever came of it. I never found out. And because of that, I was extremely angry that I'd gone 4 days without knowing and without speaking to anybody in my family and didn't know what was going on. And I went to my counselor and basically blew up in her face and said a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but because of that, they decided that I was a danger to myself or others, and that I needed to be put under suicide watch, which basically meant that I was going to be in a room with 3 women I didn't know and basically be watched 24 hours a day. I was still allowed to come and go as I pleased, but I was never allowed to be alone. And this was right before Christmas, so that also meant that I wasn't going to be able to spend Christmas with the few friends that I had, and that was pretty devastating on top of everything else. And the day after Christmas, my best friend that I had made inside, her name was Lori, she came and grabbed me from my room and said, "Come with me, we're going to the chapel to pray." And I kind of rolled my eyes. I wasn't in the mood, I didn't want to go, and all I kept thinking was, at least if I go with her, I'm not sitting in this room with these strangers anymore. So I got up and went with her, and we got in, and she dragged me to the front and pushed me down onto my knees and told me to close my eyes and she'd take care of the rest. And so I did what she said, and she started to pray in such a way that like I could feel it in my gut, you know, and I didn't know what was happening. I had never seen this in anybody before. And so I opened my eyes and I was just looking at her and she opened her eyes and looked back at me and she said, "This is the way it's supposed to be with God. It's all or nothing, and you're either in or you're out." And I kind of laughed a little bit like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she's like, "No, really. You're either in or you're out." And I just started to cry and I said, "I'm in." And so then she cried. And that was the first time that I ever remember feeling God in my entire life. I'd always, I guess, subconsciously believed in God, but I didn't know. I didn't have any kind of interaction or relationship at all until that point. At this point in my life, I know that I wouldn't be the woman that I am today without having had that kind of interaction and coming to the point of just, I can't do anything on my own anymore and I need you. And so I thank him every single day for forgiveness and for peace in my heart and for grace, because I don't even want to think about who or what I would be today without it. Sometimes everything is scary and it's terrifying and it's coming at you from all directions, but don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid to seek out a relationship with God, because it really will change your life forever.